Good morning and welcome to Morning Messages of Hope and Inspiration. My name is Jenny McBride, and this last week I celebrated a big birthday, like 5-0. And it was sort of cool. And we actually went back to a place where I turned 40. And on my 40th birthday, I ran a marathon. Because why not? It's your 40th birthday, do something big or go home, right? No, I ran a marathon in one of the most beautiful places in the world, St. George, Utah. And it has a gorgeous, gorgeous marathon run. The course is just out of this world. You pass by some volcanoes and Snow Canyon State Park, and it's just a beautiful time of year. Usually the mornings are quite cool and it warms up into the afternoon. And I was able to run a marathon. However, I learned some lessons while running that marathon. And one of the most important lessons I learned is to have joy in the journey. What are things in your life that stop you from experiencing joy in the journey? Well, for me on that marathon, I had a few obstacles. Number one, I overtrained. So I was so excited to do it, and I never really ran that far, and I wanted to run the whole 26.2 miles straight. And I started training a little early, and I was training a little hard. Even though I had studied all these principles about how not to overtrain, I overtrained. And some of my muscles got a little sore. The IT band got really tight. And so it ended up that even though I'd ran 22 miles straight, by the time the marathon hit, I could only run flats and downhill. I could not run anything up. If I ran up, my IT bands would tighten and I couldn't run anymore. And so it was a little frustrating because I was training at a pretty good time. I was turning 40, so I really wanted to get a 4-hour time. And I was training to do so. And for a person who played volleyball and basketball and softball and golf and tennis, I was not a long distance runner. I was not a soccer player. I ran 3 miles in high school once, and I ran 6 miles once after college. Distances were not my thing. I love to hike. I love to go up in the mountains, but to run 26.2 miles. What was I, crazy on my 40th? Well, my husband did an Ironman on his 40th, so I had to do something, right? So I'm training for this, I overtrain, and now when the day of the marathon comes, and I could have just said, hey, I'm injured, my IT bands are tight, I did the 22 miles without stopping, we're good, right? But I prayed about it. And I had the thought and impression to go have joy. Go be a cheerleader and go help others. Don't think so much about yourself. Don't think so much about that stupid 4-hour time. Just go have joy in the journey. Stop thinking about yourself so much. And God didn't say it like that, but it really was. Stop thinking about yourself so much and this silly goal you have for doing it in 4 hours. And be aware of other people on the course. So my 4-hour time turned into under 5.5 hours, but I completed it, and I experienced such great joy on that run. I met amazing people, and it was okay that I was being passed by 80-year-olds who were running faster up the hill because I could only walk. I was able to encourage people and say, hey, you know what? Right after that next hill, we're going to come across this beautiful view, and we're going to have an overlook of Snow Canyon. It's magnificent. And I could encourage and lift people and say, hey, we're almost there. There's not too many more hills. It's more downhill from here. And just talk to people and distract them from the pain, because sometimes in a marathon, it's hard. And I met a lot of wonderful people. And I wonder if I had been just running to get that time, if I would have had such a wonderful experience. And since it was my 40th birthday, on the back of my shirt, I put something really funny. I said, thanks for coming to my birthday party. And it was so cool. Everybody, people on the side were cheering, hey, happy birthday. And people I met on the course were saying, happy birthday. And I felt really special. Sometimes I really like attention. And that day I got so much fun attention, but I was able to not worry about that 4-hour time and focus on people around me and meet neat people and lift and just choose joy. There are many obstacles in this life that will stop us from having joy in the journey. And one of them is unrealistic expectations and focusing on ourselves and some goal we want. God has a plan for us, and he wants us to experience joy in this life. But I believe sometimes our unrealistic expectations stop us from experiencing joy. So this year, this next decade in my 50s, I want to choose joy in the journey and really have joy every day by walking with Jesus Christ and looking for ways to serve. Be careful. I want to be careful about setting unrealistic expectations, setting a goal that focuses more on me and my achievements instead of the process of life. Sometimes it's so easy in this life to focus on an outcome of a 4-hour time on a marathon to give me worth instead of enjoying the journey, instead of truly choosing to trust in this process that God has a plan for us and that we are of great worth. And part of this plan is to have journey and be cheerleaders for others in this journey. People will come into your life every day that need to be lifted, that need a word of encouragement, that need a reminder that God is near, that might need you to stop and pray. I remember one day, one of my neighbors stopped Jared and I from going and said, "Hey, my mom's in the hospital, will you pray with me?" And we stopped in the street, well, on the sidewalk, and we held hands and we said a prayer. Joy in the journey is lifting and helping others in need and looking for those opportunities. I am grateful I was injured, that my IT bands tightened, and that I could choose joy in the journey on that wonderful marathon on October 5th in 2013. I'm grateful for the many people who cheered me on in that journey, who wished me happy birthday and who made beautiful signs and just brought joy in my life. This life. The purpose of this life is to experience joy, and with God and listening to God. And because of Jesus Christ, we can have joy today, every day, regardless of our circumstances. Thank you for joining me in Morning Messages of Hope and Inspiration. My name is Jenny McBride, and I love you. Remember, choose joy in the journey.